Hey everyone, Eric Dutram here, your editor for the ETF Investor Service, here to tell you a little bit more about how the service is going to go about picking the funds and some key tips and tricks that you'll want to keep in mind for this service in the months and years ahead. First up, let's take a look at some of the key areas where we're going to focus on in order to find the best ETFs for the next 9 to 12 months. Key in these areas are the ETF selection process in terms of the Zacks industry rank, the Zacks ETF rank, and then also proper ETF selection. And you can see a lot of these items on the website. Right here, if we look at the industry rank, we can see that all the different segments of the fund world and the stock world itself are broken up into these smaller subsets, and we have different segments are ranked on a 1 to 260 range. You want to see ranks that are in the 1 to 50 range. Those are going to be the best ones to watch. And you also want to see sectors that are surging up the rank list, such as this one with food, where it's gone from 22 to 3 over the last week. So those are going to be key areas that we're going to be looking for. We're going to be finding ETFs that are focusing on these segments that are surging up the ranks and that have multiple industries in the same sector that are also doing very well. Another area that we're going to be focusing in on is the idea of industries. We can see this in our relatively new industry rank segment on the website. And as you can see at time of taping, we have finance as the top industry, conglomerates number 2, oil number 3. So those are going to be key areas we're going to focus in on in terms of places to look for the best ETFs. And another key aspect of this process is going to be selecting the right ETF. Arguably, that's just as important as finding the right sector fund. As we can see on this chart right here, we're comparing 2 biotech ETFs over the last year. We got IBB and XBI. And as you can see, they've performed similarly in times of stress and in times of promise, but the returns are dramatically different. XBI has added about 45%, while IBB just about 16%. Now, both of these focus in on the same area of the market, biotechnology, but XBI has a lot more focus on the small cap market, while IBB has a much bigger focus on the large cap, your giant cap companies out there. And as you can see, this has had a dramatic impact on the return over the past year. So these are the kind of things I'm going to be looking for when I'm taking a look at the best ETFs to invest for the portfolio. And then another key area to note is the idea of the Zacks ETF rank. You can find this on the Zacks ETF homepage. I do have it pulled up right here on the screen for you. And as you can see, we have a list of all the top ranked ETFs. And then you can also cycle by rank and then also by our over 60 categories as well. So you can drill down into certain types, be it currency, consumer staples, consumer discretionary. This rank is updated on a pretty regular basis. So that's something we're going to be looking at as well in terms of finding the best ETFs for the portfolio. Now, there's a couple of other key areas that investors should note, and that should be what the portfolio is going to focus in on in terms of its sector exposure. Mostly U.S. sector ETFs are going to be the focus of the fund. International commodity and bond will also be included, but that's much less percentage of the portfolio. It's going to be primarily focused on the U.S. sectors because that is where we have the best strength in terms of these Zacks rank abilities. And then leveraged and volatility funds, those are going to be on the out. We're not going to be adding those to the portfolio by and large, largely because the ETF investor has a long time horizon, and these products are mostly for short-term trading, and it doesn't really meld very well with the strategy that we're going for. If you're looking for leveraged and volatility, I know some of the other portfolios out there in the Zacks universe do use these sparingly, and I'd recommend checking out those instead. Another couple areas to note are the idea of ETF trading tips. Sometimes we're going to be buying low volume ETFs. These can be problematic for some investors, but that's if you take it from a stock mindset. We have this idea in the ETF world of authorized participants. They can create more volume when an ETF has underlying liquid securities. And that is definitely something to keep in mind if you're worried about low volume ETFs. And then also, you always want to use limit orders. Limit orders can prevent you from getting a bad fill, and it's something to keep in mind both when buying and selling ETFs, but especially when you're doing it with low volume funds, those that have less than, say, 25,000 shares traded in a day. You also want to take a look at the level 2 quotes for a lot of these products. You might see some good underlying volume here even if the headline numbers aren't that great. Some other things to note here, make sure to read the guide. We have a great guide for you out on the site. You should also take a look at the fund newsletter, which I write every Wednesday. Check that out, that is free. We also have frequently asked questions. If you have any concerns or anything that comes to mind, you can also feel free to email me as well, edutram@zacks.com, or contact your rep as well. They'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And just make sure to read the commentary. You know, we put it out there on a regular basis, and it's there for your benefit, and hopefully it will give you some insights in terms of, you know, where I think the market is heading, what picks I think are looking promising, and which ones we might want to think about curtailing in the near future as well. So once again, thanks for looking into the ETF Trader and ETF Investor Service. And if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. But until then, I hope you enjoy the service, and good luck investing.